What's up, guys? Happy Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the show, the F5 Report, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, friends, and finances. I'm joined today by a good buddy, member of the Inner Circle Mastermind, and just a high-level operator, man. So I'm excited to have you on the show, Gabe DaSilva. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Excited to bring value.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, look, I think, we've talked to a lot of people in the real estate industry. Your business is very unique in a lot of ways. And so I'd love to talk about a little bit, maybe tell folks about what you do. Tell them, how you kind of got to this point, just a brief summary. And then, maybe we'll get into what's this whole COVID thing done to your business?
Yeah. So a quick origin story. So we are real estate investors, developers, and educators. Primarily, we focus on construction heavy fix and flips. We take dated capes, ranches, bungalows, and we rip the roof off and do pop tops or add levels. That's our core competency. It's our we have a proven process for it. And I would say primarily that's who we are. That's what we do. We wholesale. We do a lot of different things in the real estate investment space. Like I said, we're educators as well, teach other people how to do what we do, and came through the food service space and found my way into real estate. It wasn't intended. This is where I wound up, and I've taken to it and then absolutely love this vehicle and enjoying working through what's going on right now, surprisingly.
So what would that transition look like? I mean, I almost know 5 people that came from the food service industry, and all of a sudden, boom, they're in real estate. Like, how'd you get into your first deal? How did you make that transition?
So in the past life, I operated a restaurant. I ultimately sold that restaurant to a partner and took some time off to kind of understand what was next, gain some perspective. And I had a background in real estate only in that I grew up around it. So I didn't know it, intimately. I just knew subconsciously what I had learned from watching my dad build houses, things like that.
Sure.
So after a few months kind of reading and sitting and thinking, I said, let me do what I believe I'm naturally conditioned to do. Let me go and give real estate a shot. There was a lot of opportunity. There still is in this space. And it's really the ultimate vehicle for building legacy wealth. So took a shot at a rehab, my first fix and flip. Did it the way most anybody else does it, combed MLS, found like your first deal is usually not going to be an off-market deal. Well, that's not necessarily true, I guess. A lot of people's first deals are. Mine wasn't. Happened to be something an agent brought to me. Got in way over my head. Had to leverage just about anyone and everyone around me to get me out of it. Just took on far more of a project than I had anticipated. Ultimately came out on top, did really well with it, and said, okay, well, I didn't intend to do all that with that one. Wasn't meant to be a full gut rehab. It turned into one, but I made it through. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Like on to the races. And that's how this whole thing's evolved.
It's amazing how like scary times or like the times when things are the most tumultuous, you look back on them and they're the growth spurt moments, like you push through and then you're like, wow, and almost like it gives you a little bit more extra confidence to go figure it out the next time.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes that's a blessing in and of itself. So anyone else might have looked at it, and even I might have looked at that project, and if I knew that my guys were going to demo the whole house and that wasn't part of my intention, I would have probably been overwhelmed by the scale of the project. But because it just so happened over the course of a week, things got out of hand. And then I showed up. I said, I guess I'm doing a gut reno now. So much for just a kitchen and a bathroom. And so, and it's evolved from there. Same thing now. I just look at every project as, we want to constantly be pushing, constantly be growing.
Yeah. Love it, man. So tell us about the state of things today. So the shift has affected all of us. And for you being in the construction industry, what does it look like? Did things slow down, or are guys still working? Are they taking different precautionary measures? And, how's it look?
Yeah, so it's for sure things are slower. We are considered essential here in New Jersey. So, per Murphy's statutes and, his mandates, we're allowed to continue working. And so we are working with smaller crews, making sure guys are, staying safe, keeping distance, but the towns are operating differently, and that's what's slowing us down. Like, we're still moving, we'll still push projects, but whereas before you'd have inspectors on every day, now you've only got one trade inspector on 1 day a week. So if you're not ready for your Tuesday plumbing inspection, you'll have to wait until the following Tuesday, rather than getting back on a Thursday or whatever the case is. So we're seeing that start to kind of, guys are getting sick, inspectors are getting sick, they're being quarantined for 2 weeks. So that workload has got to fall somewhere on someone else. And so, yeah, we're seeing delays, but still we forge forward. They're allowing us to work. That's a blessing. There's a lot of industries, like, my past life in the food service space, right? Like, a lot of those guys are totally handcuffed. Fitness, like, gyms are shut down. So we are allowed to work, and, we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep working, albeit at a little bit of a slower pace, but yeah, we're moving.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think there's only a matter of time before we start to see a little bit of a revolt on our hands, and people, look, it's their right to go be free citizens and make money, and this thing is really handcuffing a lot of folks. You're like the epicenter. You're in North Jersey, right? So I mean, what was it like around you? Do you know a lot of people were affected? Have any of your crews or any of your team, anybody? I know it hit home for you personally. In a lot of ways, but I mean, have you, what's your experience been so far with it?
Yeah, so we definitely had it hit home, and we lost somebody really early on in the process, family. And so that created a shift in perspective, I would say, more so than the business piece. So yeah, kind of found perspective in that pause as we processed that. The crews, they were all seeing that kind of happen. Until someone, gets sick, it doesn't get real. And then it became very real for us real fast. And then, because I was super early on, that was a month ago now. But then we started seeing that happen to guys in the field. Someone's brother got sick, someone's cousin passed away, something like that, immediately impacts how, like, they want or don't want to work, So now they don't want 4 guys in the truck on the way to the job site together. So things like that started to impact us a little bit. I would say we were more fortunate than some others. And I know there's, whole operations that were shut down for weeks on end. I think now a lot of people are starting to get back to work with the masks and things like that. But yeah, I would say, again, we were fortunate. We were more fortunate than most in that respect. But yeah, it definitely, this is a very real thing,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I say that, and I ask that question, because I know you were directly impacted. And I think that there's a lot of people, look, I think that this is a very split thing, right? You got people who really weren't affected much by it, who are saying, like, enough is enough. We need to get back to work. Let's go, like, open the country back up again. America's strong, this whole thing. And then, then you got people like yourself who were affected directly. It took extra precautionary measures, and it really hit home. Like, something actually created a change or impact in your life, and it's a polarizing subject right now.
Yeah, I think there's going to be people on both sides of the fence. Of course, as with anything, look at what's going on social media with the whole pandemic movie. That's overrun social media, right? It went from everyone was an expert epidemiologist, and then everyone's like an oil trader, then everyone's a financier, a real estate speculator, and then, like, now everyone's a conspiracy theorist. And so there's going to be both sides. Like, you can't watch something like that and completely jump to the other side. You have to be wise to the fact that everyone's got an agenda, and so that movie was crafted by somebody with an agenda, just like the other side has crafted their narrative. And so we're being reasonable, be rational, be reasonable, listen to what, everyone's got to say, but then make up your own mind.
Yeah. 100%. What about the murder hornet experts? I mean, there's a lot of them saying that, we're gonna run out of bee population this year, and that's gonna cause an apocalypse.
Yeah, I saw some about that. I saw someone's swollen hand stung or something like that. I didn't dig deep into the rabbit hole on the murder hornet yet, but yeah, I know.
Oh man, you're missing out, buddy. You're missing out. There's so much goodness in there. No, I'm just teasing. So what's next for you? I mean, how you guys, we talked about implementing some change to be more progressive. Are you going after different things? Are you changing up your market? Are you pivoting at all, or are you going to continue going with the at a level model and grow that?
Yeah. So we knew something was coming. Not like no like Nostradamus crystal ball type stuff, but I think anyone in this space knew that we've been high on the hog for a long time. So there was something coming. Nobody anticipated it was going to be a black swan pandemic COVID thing, but we knew something was coming. So we were planned for a pivot. When this happened, we leaned in rather than, put our heads in the sand. We leaned into it and we said, okay, let's lead from the front. Let's pivot now. Let's not wait. Okay, we have these data levels in progress. Well, you're not going to go and fire sale a project mid process. You're going to see that project through. That you can't control. You move and push it along as quickly as you can. But again, you're at the mercy of some towns and things like that. But okay, that's that. What about the stuff in the pipeline? That's when we pivoted. That's when we said, all right, well, we've got stuff coming down the pike, but we don't necessarily need to take on 3 more $1 million+ at a level style projects that are going to lock us up for the next 6, 9, 12 months, and then be selling into a market that we don't necessarily understand. Let's go and revisit these deals. Let's go back to these sellers and retrade. Let's look for them to make some concessions on price given what's going on. And that took a couple of phone calls. That was done, and then and people are being understanding, and we are getting better numbers on stuff. And then again, with that comes more opportunity. You have more options. We did pivot for sure. And I don't anticipate that we're going to take down any more $1 million+ rehabs this year. It's just why? What sense would that make?
Yeah. No, I love that though, because I think a lot of people, what stops them from doing what you're talking about is ego, right? Like we get to a place where we're like, this is what we do. This is all we do. I'm going to fight through it. I'm going to push through it. But I think the smart investors, look, at the end of the day, there's always a buyer for the product, right? It's an adjustment in value. It's an adjustment in what we think the ARV is going to be. Maybe it's an adjustment in how the project is operated or run, what kind of value we add to the deal. But like you're saying, you're getting sellers to kind of renegotiate things, get better pricing, find a shift, find a way to create opportunity out of this potential, trying time that are coming up, right? So I love the idea of, hey guys, we got deals, we got them on the books. Let's look for a different opportunity. Let's pivot. And there's going to be a buyer out there for it, right? Regardless of the market up or down, there's always buyers. It's just a matter of what they're willing to pay, what the terms are, and so forth.
The buyers that are out there now, if you've got vacant homes, you're getting a lot of action. So on the retail side, we're also, pretty active there. And we're seeing that anything that's vacant is getting a lot of showings. They're getting offers. So for us to take down a deal and commit to being there for 6+ months to get it to what we envision, that whole ego thing of building this beautiful home, right? We don't necessarily need to do that right now. There's people that want the house in the condition it's in right now. If it's livable, they had their house under contract 30, 45, 60 days ago. They have to move. They have to go somewhere. So there's people buying, and the people that are buying are serious right now. They're out there. So yeah, we're repositioning properties and then wholesaling now.
Yeah. And I hear this from a lot of investors right now. There's the ability to take these deals. You're not competing with people. First of all, a lot of the listing people who had retail listings that were living in the property, they removed their property from the market, right? Because there's no sense in sitting it on there if you're not going to give access, you're not going to do showings, so forth, right? Then you got the rehabbers that are putting on decent product. It's vacant. Well, what's the first thing that a buyer can go look at if they really are active and really do need somewhere else to live? Well, they're gonna set up not the nicest looking vacant house that's in their market, right? I'm seeing a lot of same week rehabs hitting the market and under contract in 7 days. I think that it's a micro anomaly, right? I don't think it's a segment of, hey, this is how the real estate market is doing in general. I think that you get the advantage because you have a vacant property.
Yeah, and that's us figuring out a way to stay active in what otherwise would be a really convenient time to get lulled to sleep. We don't necessarily need to push through this period, be proactive. We could easily get rocked to sleep, put our heads in the sand like a lot of other folks have done. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to create impact. We're here to lean into the market in whatever condition it's in. And so, yeah, there's opportunity. You just got to be resourceful about finding it, pivot, and go. Within reason, of course. Everybody's got stuff going on, so I don't want it to seem as if I'm not relatable in that sense. I understand that everyone's in a different place and everyone's on a different journey. But if you're just putting your head in the sand and waiting for the new normal to shake out for this, like, you'll be back wherever it was that you were 3-6 months ago, 6 years from now, looking back on this time with massive regret about the things you could have done, the decisions you could have made, the shifts you could have created. And I won't be there. I refuse to be there.
No doubt. I'm with you, brother. So I want to rewind a second. So for some of the people that are watching that are maybe either new to real estate investing, or maybe they're real estate investors and they haven't heard this term, can you tell the audience what a wholesale is, as opposed to, look, you buy and you put massive additions on houses. What does it look like to wholesale something?
Yeah. So the way it was taught to me, the way I define it is 2 weeks and 10 grand. You spend no more than 2 weeks there. You spend no more than 10 grand there. You're certainly not doing a kitchen or a bathroom for 10 grand. You're essentially cleaning the house out, rip up some carpets, just a refresh. And that's not even like that lipstick on a pig rehab thing. That's not what that is. It's like, we keep it quick. We keep it cheap, not cheap. We don't spend a lot of time or money there. And we quickly just reposition the asset in a way that makes it more appealing to the marketplace. What I love about the wholesale model is that with it comes control. And so more options. If you bought it right, you now control the property and you get to target a retail buyer, which right now retail buyers need a place to live. And some are out there and they're active and they're serious. And so that's why I love wholesale versus wholesale in this current climate.
Super interesting. I actually, I don't think I could have defined it better myself. I don't know if I've ever heard the 2 weeks and $10,000. We've always defined it as a super light rehab, but that's a great way to put like a marker on that thing. But it has a lot to do with just really understanding the highest and best use for the asset, right? Whether or not, you go in there, let's say you bought it for, 100, you could put 50 in it and make it worth 200. Well, if you bought it for 100, can you put 10 grand in it and make it worth 180? Right? Like, how do we get it cleaned up? How do we get it best suited for the market? Obviously, make sure it's structurally and utilities are all intact, and it's going to be a relatively low maintenance buy for the retail buyer. But how can I get that retail buyer in at under retail value and still make a great gap and do it more effectively, do it more efficiently, do a rehab in 2 weeks instead of 12 weeks, where you're ripping out bathrooms and kitchens and tearing off the roof? How can we just go in and out of that thing and get it retail ready for an end buyer? Because at the end of the day, they want something that's clean and relatively maintenance free, right? That's what the end buyer is looking for. I don't care what market you're in, all the way from 100 grand to 1.5 million. They want a clean house that they don't have to worry about becoming property managers on when they move in. Ultimately, all homeowners do that, right? But I love that. I love the concept, because I think that that wholesale segment is something that you're going to see a lot more of. I don't think we've seen enough of it. And in a hot market, the money is just flowing, right? This is a way for people to get in and get out and do it in the least amount of time and the least amount of money and still make a decent spread, right?
And so if that offers you the opportunity of selling to the retail buyer who wants something livable, but we just took a deal down yesterday that we're repackaging, putting it out next week. It's going to appeal to a retail buyer who wants to be in a great town on the best street and wants to do their own reno. They want to do their own at a level. They want to make this thing their forever home. They've been looking and shopping for the perfect plot, the perfect canvas for a while. And here comes this house on the market. We put the sign out. Not 5 minutes later, we had a neighbor pull up and ask, are you selling it as is? Yeah, of course. Sure. Because they know someone who wants to move into the neighborhood, and that person, that couple will take this project on now, especially with everything that's going on. They'll live in it for now. They'll build up their war chest. And then 6 months from now, they'll hire a builder and they'll take this thing, all the way, and they'll build themselves $1 million house. for us right now, there's a spread there to be made, and we'll do that. So that's how our model shifted. And yeah, I think it's really powerful.
I love that piece. Can we take 2 minutes? Can we walk through the numbers in that deal? You don't have to obviously disclose where the deal is and all that, but for people that don't understand, there's retail buyers. Let's say you're paying 60 cents in the dollar. They pay 70 cents in the dollar. It's still a win-win. That's what we call creating the gap, right? Like finding a way to create a gap and get paid for your services. For rehabbers, a lot of times we think that we have to put all this money into it, raise the price up, create a bigger opportunity, when we realize at the end of the day, the gaps aren't that much different, right? For less lifting. So like, for example, on this property, what are we getting it at?
So we got it at 375.
375. And that number, it's actually a great value for you to potentially take it and what do you put in the add a level? Another 300 grand?
Yeah, this would warrant every bit of 300 for the size of this project.
So say we're at 675, all in, less, without holding costs and things like that, right? 675, and that property is worth what?
975. But it's going to cost every bit of 100 grand in soft to get there. So
exactly.
So and we'll be realistic on the timeline. Let's say it'll be 12 months close to close.
Yep.
So now we're at 775. We're gonna outsell at 975. We're gonna pay commissions and some other things. I mean, my soft costs, we're talking about financing, taxes. We weren't really factoring in commission. So anyway, let's say whole numbers. Let's say we'd make 200 grand over 12 months. We're not going to. We would make less.
Yeah. So, you'd probably make 150 if that.
And here we are listing it next week at 475. So,
right. And creating an opportunity, because even if you sold it for 450 to an end buyer, you're still creating that 75K spread. You're still creating an opportunity for the end buyer, because the end buyer has the opportunity to go do that thing themselves, right? And I'm sure you're offering the option to get them to buy it and hire you to do the add level, right?
We have in the past. We won't on this one. Because we're trying to get out of these construction heavy rehabs, and my commitment to them would keep me there anyway. But I don't necessarily want to be there doing that deal, whether it's for me or for them 12 months from now, because we're shifting even beyond the stuff we've talked about. We're shifting, further than even what we've shared here. But the opportunity's there. Like, people will buy that canvas in that particular market, and this applies to everybody who's watching in their markets as well. Like, that canvas is a desire. I mean, if it's the right house on the right street, it's desired, and people will pay it, and they'll pay more than a rehabber will, because they want to live there. Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. What else did we miss, Gabe? I want to give you guys opportunity to ask some questions. By the way, smash the like button if you're finding value here. If you're watching Gabe, if this is making sense to you, whether you're in the real estate industry or maybe you're just deciding to think about investing in some way, shape, or form into this industry. Great operators like Gabe are the ones that help create those opportunities, create those investments, and take great care of your money. So if that's something you're getting into, so what's the next piece for you then? So you said there's some stuff you haven't shared yet. I love the pivot already into the wholesale model, making some spreads. What else is up your sleeve? You gonna start an e-com company or what?
No. I know one thing. I know what I'm not good at, and technology is definitely not it. The fact that I got this all working is a miracle in and of itself. I think opportunities coming down the pike in the small business space are going to be amazing. You don't have to look very far now. Just look down Main Street and you're seeing small business owners are getting their faces absolutely ripped off by no fault of their own. I don't think a lot of them were ready for this. I know most of them were not. I speak small business intimately. It's my background's in it. I've built, scaled, run, and sold a small business. I just think those guys are going to be looking to get out. They're just going to be super tired. They've built this up. They've built it up once or twice. If after 08, 9, 10, if they took a beating there, they've built this thing up again. At this point, they're just tired. They're going to throw their hands up. They're not going to do this again. The PPP money, if it hit at all, is it's a temporary fix. They're not going to want to build this thing back up. They haven't had to let anybody go in a decade. They haven't had to worry about paying rent. Things have been too easy. They haven't had to go out and source a new client, new customer. Sales have been flowing. It's been easy. They've been riding high on the hog for a decade. And so now, that guy, if his kids aren't ready to take the business over and he's in his late 60s, he's done. He's not coming back for round 3. And I don't blame him. But you know who will? Us. Like, we're here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. No, I mean, look, and I think what you're talking about here is opportunity for you and for them, right? Because, there's certain times when that business owner is like, you know what, I was going to let it go soon anyway. Now I can create a win-win scenario. Maybe you seller finances a piece. Maybe you buy a piece of equity. Like, I think there's so much great talent that's sitting on the bench right now. I've been saying this for weeks. It's out there, guys, whether it's an entrepreneur that owns already, whether it's people that want to make a switch, want to jump off the fence and create a different opportunity, come to work for a different environment. I think there's going to be a lot of shifting over this next 3 to 6 months. And it's already starting. I mean, I think it's already happened. We've been hiring people virtually since this whole thing started. So finding great operators, align with them, create opportunity, create a win-win. Gabe, I love it, man. Anything else? Last call before I let you go here?
No, my parting piece of guidance, if I'll leave anybody with that, is you can do 3 things. You control only 3 things right now in the midst of all this madness: acquire knowledge, strengthen relationships, source capital. Go do those 3 things. If you do nothing else, focus on that. You'll be better off at the end of this. Go get ready, because you better be ready. You're not going to have time to get ready. So be ready.
Love it. Love it. You guys follow Gabe on Instagram. You see his handle below. Very inspiring, interesting, fun shit to watch. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And if you're in the space, if you're in the real estate space, and you're looking for coaching, mentorship, guidance, Gabe's got some of the best classes. You'll see all that stuff on Instagram as well. Gabe DaSilva, thanks for joining us, brother.
Thanks, man. Honored to be here. Thank you. Ciao.
Later. All right.